Welcome to Mount Panorama, a venue revered and feared in equal measure, and home to the Southern Hemisphere's greatest race, the Bathurst 1000. But who will be king of the mountain today? Welcome to Grand Prix Legends live here on the Global SimRacing channel. I'm Peter Mackay, and I'm privileged to be joined in the booth by the better half of Double Scotch, Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, using camera angles perfected by Dougie Beard. Now, Bathurst is one of the most special racing venues in the world, and here is a look at our Global Sim Racing channel track guide to tell you a bit more about it.
Welcome to Mount Panorama Circuit. Most drivers simply refer to this place as Bathurst, with it being located just to the southwest of the city's major hub. But most ominously, and perhaps appropriately, it's been nicknamed the Mountain. With more than 500 feet of elevation change over the course of a lap, it's easy to understand why. Though originally built for racing, it's become a street circuit over time, with the track itself used for regular traffic and featuring residential housing all along the roads. This makes this 4-mile, 23-turn course incredibly unique in the world of racing. In the past, the track has hosted a variety of types of cars, including open-wheelers. But modern safety standards means that most competitive racing has now been limited to sports cars and touring cars. However, the dangers are very real due to the incredibly high speeds and lack of runoff throughout much of the circuit. The quickest parts are the run up the mountain straight towards Griffin's Bend, and then the flat-out blast back down the Conrad Straight and into the chase. This chicane was added in the late 80s to break up the run down to Murray's Corner. But while most chicanes are derided for ruining the character of a track, the terrifying speed as you approach it and the general difficulty make it fit right in with Bathurst challenges. However, the toughest portions are undoubtedly along the mountain itself, with notorious corners like the Cutting, Brock's Skyline, the Dipper, and Forest's Elbow. In fact, one of the more unique worries of this course is that all of these parts are so narrow that track blockages due to wrecks are not uncommon in the first few laps. The Australian fans often line the fences and hillsides to witness the daredevil spectacle of drivers trying to claim King of the Mountain. You can't blame them with how rare of a sight a track like Bathurst is today.
So there you go then, wonderful Mount Panorama, an incredible facility where we're going to go racing with a classic Grand Prix car, the Lotus 49. Ryan Walker, it's a pleasure to have you in the booth once again for this season finale of the Grand Prix Legends series, but tell us a little bit more about the finer points of this Mount Panorama circuit.
Yeah, Bathurst, or Mount Panorama as it's formerly known, has been around for quite some time, and this 4-mile track, it's hosted a range of series in the past, from the V8 supercars to the Bathurst 12 Hours, and also the super touring version of the Bathurst 1000. And this track was also host to that famous lap of the gods from Greg Murphy back in 2003, and yeah, it's still remembered to this day. And the track has went through a host of safety changes throughout the years. The Troyes, famously, it went through a corner change, or a safety change if you like, in 1987 after the unfortunate death of Mike Birdman in 1986, and in 1987 the corner, formerly known as the Chase, was added, and it's been there ever since. And today this track will be host to the fantastic Lotus 49 series, and boy, I can't wait for it.
It's going to be special, that is for sure. It's going to be a huge challenge for these open wheel racing cars. But let's have a look at how the championship standings look at this point in time. Of course, Rafael Dorado, already crowned champion, has an unassailable lead with Mick Claridge in second place, but he's on a bit of a roll. He's won the last couple of races. He had a fantastic drive at the Circuit of Americas 7 days ago. Rob Olenek not too far behind in third, with Yuri Geisen fourth and Alessandro Parigi in fifth. How's the F2 Championship looking, Ryan?
Yeah, in the F2 Championship, it's pretty much all wrapped up for Japan's Togo Hoseda, with a 40 point gap to Germany's Andre Schumacher, who's in second place, with John Olsen in third place, and Dane Cohen in fourth from the United States, and another American driver in fifth place, rounded out the top five, is Andre Eng. So Hosada rather has pretty much got it in the bag. He just needs to finish today and get a good result just to make sure he gets it wrapped up.
Certainly easier said than done, particularly if you want a track to get a championship sealed up. Bathurst is probably bottom of the list, so perilous are the walls up on the mountain. Absolutely no room for error whatsoever. Let's have a look at the Nations Cup. Let's see how they are getting along. And the United Kingdom lead by just 24 points from another great motor racing nation, Brazil, with United States in third, Finland in fourth, and the Netherlands sitting in fifth place. So the drivers are out at the moment setting their solo qualifying laps. Thankfully, don't need to worry about traffic up on the mountain. They get 2 flying laps to set their best time. And, well, you mentioned the lap of the gods, Greg Murphy in the Holden, Ryan. I mean, it's an incredible spectacle, the qualifying here at Bathurst, that 1 lap dash. But today we're going to go for 18 laps, a long way around here at Bathurst. And most importantly of all, as always, here in the Grand Prix Legends series, an open setup. So that's where really that experience of the race car, so important to get this Grand Prix machine up to pace. 17 incident points will give you a penalty, 25 will disqualify you, but your car will not survive to that level of incident points. Any contact whatsoever will be severely punished. Now we can see we've got Jamie Philippe back to join us today, the driver for the Apex Racing team, running the number 1 plate here, just putting in his qualifying time. We also have Rafael Dorado, Rob Olenek, Sebastian Tizier, Ovi Trengrade, and all of the other usual suspects, as we like to see. But as we said, Ryan, laying down a qualifying lap at Bathurst is one of the great challenges in all of motorsport.
It absolutely is, and if you nail a qualifying lap around here without hitting the wall, it feels like you've survived death in a way. As it's sort of one of those tracks. It's sort of like an Australian version of the Nordschleife, if you like. It's you've got really nowhere to go if you make a mistake, and you're pretty much on a one-way journey into the wall.
Absolutely, yeah. It's kind of like driving a space shuttle through the London Underground. It's not easy at all, as we can see here, watching Jamie Philippe there, almost getting air coming down towards the Dipper and Skyline. Amazing. Woof, goodness me. You're just dropping off the edge of a cliff there. And this circuit was not designed for these sorts of cars, but much more well known for the battle between Ford and Holden. But of course, the Bathurst 1000, Ford and Holden, it's not going to be Ford and Holden anymore. It's going to be Ford and Chevrolet going head to head with one another. Absolutely, and
I think this could be an interesting race. I think we might see some surprises. I mean, you've got the likes of Jamie Philippe, Rafael Dorado, you've got Ovi Trengrade, the likes of them up at the front. But I think you might see some shocks, some surprises, or maybe some even disasters happening in the race if people maybe just push the envelope a little bit too much.
So let's get Jamie Philippe over the line. Let's see what time he lays down. We'll be able to get live timing in just a moment, but Jamie's happy with his qualifying run. He's pulled up, and he will be done, maybe doing a practice start there as well.
Yep, I'm just looking at Jamie Philippe's qualifying time as well of 1:59.4, and the next person behind him is Rafael Dorado at 2:00.1. So Jamie Philippe, where he got that lap time from is beyond me.
Yep, he's a World Championship license holder, of course. Jamie Philippe races in the prestigious Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup. Catchy name, I know, but backed officially by Steve McQueen's watchmaker and one of the most famous brands in all of racing. But Lotus, the cars we have today, incredible machines. These, can you imagine this thing in 1967? It must have been state-of-the-art technology with that brand new Cosworth DFV motor, which went on to be so dominant in Grand Prix racing. Just over 400 horsepower, but this car, can you believe, weighs about the same as a Caterham 7. And the thought of a 400 horsepower V8 in a Caterham 7 gives me the shivers just thinking about it, Ryan.
Yeah, I had that same feeling, and back in those days, it must have been scary on the one hand, but also on the other hand as well, as it must have been a heck of a lot of fun as watch Robert Plumley go for a bit of rallycross style driving.
Well held. Yeah, well held coming back onto the circuit there. So we have the timed up for you. As the other half of Double Scotch, Ryan Walker mentioned, Jamie Philippe on pole, a 1:59.4 for him, with Rafael Dorado 7/10 in arrears. So Jamie Fluke certainly laying down the pace so far. But let's have a look at the grid then for this final round of the Grand Prix Legends series here at Mount Panorama. Confirming then, Jamie Fluke on pole position, the only man to break the magic 2-minute barrier with Rafael Dorado. The series veteran really will join him on the front row. Mikolino and Rob Olenek will start on row 2, with Ovi Trengerade and Bill Tyler on the third row of the grid. Angelica Pawlowski and Alessandro Parigi will start on the fourth row, with Sebastian Tizzi and Togo Hosada in row 5. Ryan.
Yep, starting in 11th is Chris Marikami. Alongside him in 12th is Gary Teal with Andre Schumacher in 13th. Terry Worth in 14th with Lance Dawson alongside him in 15th. Will McDonald in 16th with John Olsen in 17th. Emmanuel Pereira in 18th and the Dutchman John Van Dormen 19th. And rounding out the top 20 is the German driver Chris Hengler.
Rounding out the last few of our runners, we have Andrew Eng, Dave Cohen, Michael Griesinger, Donald Peake, Piotr Wjewkowski, Douglas Nelson, Seth King, Motoroni Shinoda, Yuri Geisen, Colin Bentley, and finally, before we get our drivers lining up, the last 7 on the grid are... we shall come back to that. So, as you can see, all the drivers preparing for the start. Jamie Fluke there on pole position in the number 1 car with that quite distinctive mint green and pink livery there, with Rafael Dorado in the almost... I have to say, I really do like that new fresh paint scheme for Rafael Dorado. But we see the lights rise up. We're ready to go here for 18 laps at Mount Panorama. Down towards Hell Corner they go into turn 1. Rafael Dorado makes a good start. Can he get around the outside? No, just has to give best to Jamie Fluke, who maintains his pole position. They all pile through Hell Corner. Watch out, guys. Oh, so close through there, but brilliant respect from all the drivers as always. But Rafael Dorado, look at this. Is he going to have a move straight up into Devil's Elbow, into Quarry Bend? Sorry, my apologies. Oh, no, he thinks better of it. Probably wise, Ryan.
Absolutely, that's a section that you don't want to go side by side, especially heading up to the mountain section. As Jamie Fluke, I thought he was going to clip the wall there, and he gets a little bit sketchy, but yeah, it's not a corner that you want to go side by side with, otherwise it just ends up in disaster.
Yep, absolutely. It was, I swear that wall at Quarry Bend has got magnets in it, because there's so many cars end up there with it, kind of cambers off there as well, as we see the cars floating through. Look at this commitment from the drivers. These cars have so little grip, you've just got to slide it around and be on the edge all the time. But Jamie Fluke leads then through Skyline down towards the Dipper, where you've really got to try and get the car to change direction really, really quickly. And that is not an easy thing to do in these cars. Sometimes they just don't want to change direction like a modern race car would. So through we go then, through Forest Elbows and onto the Conrod Straight, opening up all those 400 horsepower.
Yep, just watching them coming down Conrod Straight now, and it's coming up to this hill in Little Crest, and Jamie Fluke, I was watching him for a bit there, his car was moving around over the crest, and it must have been a little bit scary for him.
Indeed, and we've got a driver on the grass now. Oh, this is big. Oh, be careful. Oh, Lino been a little bit of a problem there, but managed somehow to knock career back onto the circuit. That was Mikko Lino, the Finn. Did very well to avoid any bigger incident there. So that would have grabbed his attention. That's the fastest point on the circuit. You're right at the top of top gear there. So you really don't want to be going off, but that's what makes the chase so exciting. But Jamie Fluke leads then by 0.6 of a second after the opening lap. Now, Rafael Dorado, he'll really want to try and stay in the draft as much as possible here and try not let Jamie Fluke get away. And if he can keep the pressure on, Ryan, you know, Jamie Fluke's then got to push, and if you push around here, a mistake can sometimes be around the corner.
It can, and I think Rafael Dorado, I think he's being sensible about it at the moment. He's keeping Jamie Fluke. Oh, it's Jamie Fluke. Oh, every time I watch Jamie get so close to the wall, I keep thinking he's going to clip it, and I think Dorado is just doing the sensible thing of trying to keep in contact and just maybe maintaining that gap at the moment and not overdriving or pushing too much, but also waiting in the wings there as well. In third place is Rob Olenek.
Indeed, yeah, Rob Olenek definitely in with a shout of this race victory as well. Is currently sitting in third place, with Ovi Trengrade in fourth, but a little bit further back. Ovi about 2 seconds off the back of Rob Olenek at this point. But whoa, through they go, down the dipper. That never gets any less impressive going through there. And Jamie Fluke doing a great job to keep it nice and smooth, nice and tidy. And particularly here at Forest Elbow, such an important corner, because if you can get a good exit out of there, you get the benefit all the way down the Conrod Straight, where you can just hear the engine singing along the back straight here, right up to the top of top gear, then through the chase. Now, in most cars, that's flat out. I'm sure it probably is for the top guys here, but it's, well, it's a bit more of a balancing act. You've got to think about it a bit more there. And then, of course, you've got very little room to get on the brakes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's one of those corners that you go through so quick. You want to brake, but you have to do it in a straight line, otherwise you just get sideways. As further back, we've got the battle for P5 going on at the moment between Nico Lionel, Al Tyler, Alessandro Parigi, and I think Sebastian Tix here as well.
Gee, unbelievable lap time there from Jamie Fluke. A 2-minute flat .2. That is absolutely exceptional. That's not far off his qualifying pace on his first flying lap, and as the fuel burns off, that speed will only get more. So let's see if he can break the 2-minute barrier like he did in qualifying. Absolutely incredible stuff as we look at Alessandro Parigi in that very, very distinctive yellow and black checked pattern on the nose of his Lotus 49. Almost crash test dummy livery on the front of the car.
Yeah, it made me chuckle when I looked at it, and Ryder on board as well, heading up this mountain section. This is one of my favourite sections of Bathurst. Just basically, it's full commit. That was so close to clipping the wall.
That would have been a big moment there. And I tell you, I have to agree with you, Ryan. That section is just so satisfying. If you go up there in a Nissan GTP Camel GT car, oh my word, what a sensation going through there. I cannot imagine what it's like in a qualifying lap in a V8 supercar as well, but it would be pretty special in one of these Lotus 49s as well. That's the cool thing about SimRacing, isn't it, Ryan? Because if you'd have to be seriously rich or seriously stupid or both to drive a real Lotus 49 through at that speed at Bathurst, because you wouldn't want to get it scratched, would you?
Absolutely not, and that's the thing with the SimRacing. It's if you have a crash, you don't really have to worry about the cost side of things. Unlike real life, it's kind of, you've got to be on your toes and keep that in mind. But again, still looking at his battle at the moment, and just watching Jamie Fluke, he's pretty much just increased that gap to about 1 second now. As actually Rafael Dorado's closed it down a little bit, but as they come across the line, it's up to about 1.1 seconds now.
Yeah, look at that. Really consistent lap time from Jamie Fluke. Another 2-minute flat .2. But Rafael Dorado is right there. And I think that's what Rafael's got to do. He's probably thinking, well, okay, I don't have the absolute pace, but he's certainly close enough. If he can just keep himself visible, both on the lap delta, but also actually visibly in the mirrors, then you just never know. It takes... you don't even have to even make a mistake. Just a slight little dip in concentration, and bang, you've lost a wheel. It's so unforgiving here at Bathurst. And you watch Rafael Dorado. He's not using as much of the road as Jamie Fluke is. Now that is probably where the pace is coming from. But obviously there is more of a risk involved doing that. Indeed,
as looking back in the pack as well, this is the battle for 7th place going on between Toko Osado and Gary Thiel at the moment, and these guys have been pretty close since the start of the race, and also the pack in general is kind of split up.
Yeah, it has started to thin out slightly, and we've got a big field today, 37 cars. In fact, we didn't get to read them all out on the grid, so apologies for those who were down the further back end of the grid, but it's of course quite a big circuit. 2 minutes in these cars, it's a long way around Mount Panorama, so it's good to actually get the drivers a bit more spread out, a little bit more space for them to enjoy these wonderful machines. But I have to say, I love this. I love the paint scheme of Togo Hisada's car, that classic Honda Grand Prix livery, and that's in the early days of Honda's kind of motor racing ambitions, and they just the history of the Honda Motor Company, absolutely incredible how quickly they managed to develop the technology and become such a dominant force on both 2 and 4 wheels.
Yeah, I do like that livery as well. It looks really nice. It looks simple as well, and it kind of reminds me of the livery Ove Trengrade runs in the Lotus 79 series in a way.
Yes, indeed. So let's look at the battle for 13th place. We're looking at Olsen and Terry Worth there. Terry Worth in the very classic Lotus, classic Team Lotus livery, or Team Lotus as it was in period. Of course, campaigned by the late great Jim Clark, my hero. But he's got is that Yuri Geisen at the back there? Yes, in 15th position, Yuri Geisen in the should we say the flying Campino, or the drumstick? That's right, the drumstick lolly with the pink and white on there, or the flying cornetto, maybe we could call it. So riding on board with Yuri Geisen. Now these guys are pushing on 2 minute 4.7, so just shows you how fast the guys at the front are. But Yuri just keeping it nice and smooth here, trying to keep a nice safe distance between himself and Terry Worth up ahead, and looking to pick his moment to make a move. Oh dearly, thought he was going to go into the back of Terry Worth there. I had to check up slightly, but the thing is, it's a completely different mindset required racing at Bathurst, isn't it, Ryan? Because you just cannot approach it in the same way as for example, the Circuit of Americas, where we were a week ago, where margin for error is about as wide as Texas itself.
Yeah, that's the thing with Bathurst as well. You've kind of got to go around this track with the mindset of just trying to keep out the wall, and it's not like other tracks, like you say, like Kota, where you've got like a lot more room to push more. It's kind of, if you push and push too much or just go over the edge, as Yuri gets so close to Terry Worth on the brake, and if you make a mistake, there's nowhere to go.
That's absolutely right. And of course, in a GT car or a touring car, you can scrape the wall and maybe get away with it. In a single seater, you can. Jamie Fluke, fastest lap of the race, a 2 minute flat .144. So getting closer to that 2 minute barrier and just starting to grab little bits of time out of Rafael Dorado. But Rafael is right there to capitalise on any mistake should it happen. Rob Olenek as well, not far as well. You can see Rob Olenek just at the back is shot there in 3rd place, with Ove Trengrade not far behind either. So a lot of the kind of, shall we say, the series regulars, Rafael Dorado, Rob Olenek, Ove Trengrade, putting on an amazing show, bearing in mind that Jamie Fluke is a professional sim racer. He does a World Championship license, and will be practicing for countless hours a day. So the series regulars here are showing their skill and experience with this particular car.
They are, and that's the thing. It just shows if you put in the effort, that you can get good results. As Fluke's getting held up in traffic ever so slightly, heading down over Skyline.
And that is another thing we see here at Bathurst. It is, we've got someone going very, very slow there. That was close. That was very, very close. So Jamie Fluke doing well to avoid that. Now, has the traffic helped or hindered Rafael Dorado? I think it's maybe helped him ever so slightly. Here at Bathurst, it's so narrow that if you come across lap traffic, it can cost you enormous amounts of time. And yes, I think Rafael Dorado has taken maybe about four tenths, possibly even half a second out of Jamie Fluke in that little exchange.
It's possible. I mean, just watching now, they're in the same shot, and the gap's been a lot closer since the start. And yeah, about 1.5 seconds right there. And that's the thing about Bathurst as well. If you catch traffic in the wrong place, especially in the mountain section, that can cost you big time.
It certainly does. Yep, and that will really give Rafael Dorado a little bit of, I would say give him a bit of a hurry on now, because now he's thinking, okay, I've taken some time out of here. Let's see what the lap time comparison is as they come over the line. Let's see. So last time around, a 202.1 for Jamie Fluke, 201.7 for Rafael Dorado. So that gives you a big bit. That gives you a great impression of just how much time was cost there, getting through the traffic. But really, it's not so much about the time cost, Ryan. It's just trying to avoid any collisions, because it's just so tough through there.
And also as well, if you catch the traffic in the wrong place around Bathurst, it can unsettle you a little bit, and maybe unsettle your rhythm or focus. As it looks like Guy Teal's trying to make a move on Togo Asada, but he decides to back out of it. Yeah,
wise to have another look at another point. But the thing is if you don't make that move into Quarry Bend there, you're you're sort of playing follow the leader all the way over the mountain, because there isn't really any overtaking opportunity over the mountain. In fact, of course, Matt Campbell in the Bathurst 12-hour a couple of years ago, racing for Alhambra Motorsport, pulled off one of the, I think, probably the most incredible overtaking manoeuvre I've ever seen in racing, down the Dipper, going past one of the Aston Martins to win the Bathurst 12-hour, and that really put Matt Campbell, the racer, on the global map, really, and he's gone on to great things ever since. But in general, unless your name's Matt Campbell, there isn't anywhere to pass over the mountain.
Yeah, especially, Bathurst is a difficult track to pass around, and I still remember that move watching it live, and my reaction was basically, I never said anything. I was just gobsmacked as it looks like Rob Olenek starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Ove Trengrig.
Yeah, absolutely. Ove, really starting to ask a few questions of Rob Olenek in the, I have to say, I love that, the Tony the Tiger livery on that Lotus 49, or maybe you could call it Esso livery, possibly. Maybe hopefully he's put a tiger in his tank today. But look at that, Rafael Dorado is starting to claw in Jamie Fluke. He's clawed in another bit of time in it, so it seems that through that little sequence with the traffic, that's really given Rafael Dorado a little bit of extra motivation, not that he needed it, and really starting to apply some more pressure on Jamie Fluke.
He is, and just like what I was watching his onboard there, and he's definitely closing that gap on Fluke, so maybe, I don't know if Fluke's maybe feeling unsettled after being held up ever so slightly by the back markers, but or maybe just trying to be a little bit more cautious, and maybe just try and keep out the wall. But Rafael Dorado, he's absolutely wringing the neck at this car now. He is.
You can tell he's been given the hurry on, that is for sure. So let's have a look here. That Gary Teal just got past Togo Husada. You can see Husada there in the white and red machine, the Honda livery. Teal in the white and green car there as they go over. Woof, look at that, using all of the road there through Sulman Park, McPhillamy Park, and then over towards Skyline. Why Skyline? Well, if you're looking out the peak of the helmet there, you can see all the way down. Look at that, wonderful. And then you just drop down to the Dipper, no time for sightseeing through there. I always think, every time I go through that part, Ryan, and I see Cooper's Mild 3.5%, I'm thinking, that is a poor excuse for a beer if it's only 3.5%.
Yeah, I was just thinking that as well, and every time I go across Skyline and see that banner, it's like, that it feels like you're being punished in a way.
Yeah, I think imagine it being a Tenant Super 6 point whatever percent it is. That would be a bit more. I suppose light beer is probably quite important in Australia. Aha! Look at this. Rafael Dorado has now got the gap to under a second, but sets the fastest lap of the race. That's quicker than he went in qualifying, Ryan.
Yeah, unbelievable. It just shows that Rafael is absolutely just putting the hammer down now, and there you go. Rafael Dorado and Jamie Fluke in the same shot, and that gap's for sure getting smaller and smaller.
It certainly is, for sure. Now there is a little bit of damage showing at the front of Rafael Dorado's car, but that's probably more over the bumps or over the curbs where that's happened. Probably not too much to worry about, but certainly really starting to ask questions now of Jamie Fluke, and actually carving time out of the man from Armagh. And well, it won't be long before Rafael Dorado starts to pick up little pieces of draft coming down towards the chase. But the problem is you don't want to get too much of an overshoot there, Ryan, because these cars have got such long braking distances, and well, the chase is, well, you're bringing the car down from its absolute top speed. So you really got to be careful when getting that draft, not to outdo yourself on the brakes. We see that often.
Indeed, and I think it's one thing I noticed with the Lotus 49 as well. It's you've got to have a longer braking distance, just because these cars don't have any downforce really, and it's more down to the driver. But yeah, you can see these guys are both basically just pushing each other to the limit, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see another fastest lap when these guys come across the line.
Yeah, I think we could see the 2-minute barrier broken here, and it might be Jamie Fluke, because he's really pulled out a gap there over the mountain, probably a couple of tenths there it would appear. So let's get him round Murray's corner. The other, would you believe that? Now here's one for you, Ryan. What do Snetterton and Bathurst have in common?
I have no idea.
Their last corner, both of the last corners at these two particular circuits, is called Murray's.
Ah, nice. I never knew that.
There you go. There's a fun fact for you. So now Rafael Dorado's going to get a hurry on here. Got to get past this back marker coming out of pit lane, and he does. So very, very tight then between Jamie Fluke and Rafael Dorado, and it just shows you, Ryan, that the cars don't have to be banging wheels to give us a great battle. It's on the stopwatch, isn't it, between Dorado and Fluke, just going back and forth like an accordion. Brilliant stuff, and Rafael Dorado really showing how much expertise he has with this particular car.
Absolutely, it was a ride on board this fantastic shot from Dougie Beard, riding on board the Holy Trengrid behind the third place man Rob Ulrich, and Jamie Fluke and Rafael Dorado pretty much just checked out and left these two behind to scrap amongst themselves.
Yeah, they have. As we come through McPhillamy Park and Sulman Park down towards Skyline, there's someone going slow on the left-hand side there. Not a problem for these guys. Over we go. This is such a tricky section. You bring the car over to the left, then try and get as close to the wall as you can, then hit the brakes, go and slow down, throw gears at it, into the dipper, down we go, fall off the... Whoa, there you go, bang, that must be sore when you go through there in the real world. Then into this critical corner, Forest Elbow, tuck it in. Oh, little pinch of the brake there from Rob Olenek, and that'll give Ovi Trengrid a little bit of, shall we say, a little bit of motivation as well. Down the Conrod straight we go. Now, who is this up ahead? It looks like it might be a back marker, I'm not sure, but here we go, brilliant. Woof, and you see how much in a straight line, the big bump there, Ovi Trengrid getting a big old wobble, and there goes Olenek to defend his line. Into the chase they go. Now, big moment there. Some proper Scandinavian oversteer there.
It was, and it just shows that Ovi Trengrid is giving everything, and I don't know if he was trying to do a switchback or not, but there we go. Jamie Fluke with another fastest lap of the race.
Yep, sound the klaxon. The 2-minute barrier has been broken, and that has it broken Rafael Dorado, though. I don't think he's going to let it go that easy, but Jamie Fluke really getting back into his rhythm, and I think you're spot on, Ryan, that that little trip through traffic maybe just caught off his groove, his rhythm a little bit, and now he's back into that groove. Is Jamie Fluke. Rafael Dorado is still there. He's ever present. He's just almost like a how should we say, like a mosquito, just hovering around Jamie Fluke, just irritating him, forcing him to react.
Absolutely. These Fluke and Dorado are just absolutely pushing each other. I've been checking the times from the previous laps, and they've been probably within a tenth or so of each other. So it just shows that these guys are pushing each other. Actually, Rafael Dorado's fallen back to about 2 seconds.
Okay, so maybe a mistake there from Rafael Dorado. I mean, these guys are running at such hot pace, lap record pace, really. And has Rafael Dorado blinked? And yeah, he's losing a lot of time. I wonder if he's maybe made a mistake somewhere and perhaps made a little clip with the wall. Now, don't worry about that damage on the front. That will just be from going over the bumps. But I don't see anything untoward, really, Ryan. But we'll have a look at the lap time when he comes around. But Jamie Fluke really stretching it out now.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the replay and game from my side, and I can't find anything that's pointing towards a mistake. So maybe just I think for the
oh, massive! Oh dear! Oh my word! Now we're waiting for Olenek to appear into shot. He does, but thankfully doesn't. I thought he was just going to come careering back onto the circuit as Murakami goes past there as well. So let's have a look. We've got Olenek on the right-hand side, and they just make contact into the chase. The car, it looked like Olenek was into a bit of a tank slapper at that point, Ryan. It looked like he wasn't quite under 100% control there, heading into the really fast right-hander down towards the chase.
Yeah, they both went side by side through the chase, and I don't know. I think it was maybe just a racing incident. I think Ovi just, not intentional, just maybe just ran a little bit wide or clipped that inside curve and just pushed them wide. But how that never ended up an even worse disaster for Rob Olenek, I never know. And then battle for P12 was going on between John Olsen and Dave Cohen as well.
Indeed, yeah. John Olsen there in that white and green car. with Colin behind in the kind of, what colour would that be? Or a kind of grey-green sort of colour as well. So round they go then. 7 laps to go here at Mount Panorama. And one thing that has surprised me massively and impressed me in equal measure, Ryan, is the lack of attrition in this race, relatively speaking, because it just shows you how in tune the field is with this particular car and how specialised the field is in this particular car. Because normally when I commentate on open wheel races here at Bathurst, you're lucky if 10% of the field finish, but here the drivers are just being so precise. Big props to everyone.
Absolutely, and that's the fun of the series as well. There's good drivers. You've got not just at the front, but just in the whole field in general, and it just shows that there's a lot of respect as well and good driving standards, and with the lack of retirements, it shows.
Absolutely, it almost kind of reminds me of what these cars would have been like to drive within period. Is that Don Peake of GSRC fame we're looking at on screen right now?
It is. And,
it is. Yes.
Yep. I think he's the father of our very own Joe Peake. So it's good to see Donald on the track. As again, Jamie Flick pops in another fastest lap.
Now, Ryan, we should always say nice things about Don, because isn't he the one responsible for making sure we're paid every month? We should always be nice to him. Of course we are. So, back at the front, Jamie Fluke at the front now, really starting to stretch the advantage now over Rafael Dorado. His fastest lap of the race last time, a 1:59.7. That is incredible pace from Jamie Fluke.
It is, and Jamie Fluke, he's just one of those talents in iRacing. He just jumps into anything, and he can be on the pace straight away. And he's a nice guy to talk to as well, Jamie. I've had some good conversations with him in the past, and if you haven't already, check out his Twitch channel.
Absolutely, indeed. So 6 laps to go, will be 5 when Jamie goes over the line, and Rafael Dorado now I think Rafael Dorado at the point where he's thinking, that's all I've got, I've thrown the kitchen sink at it, there's nothing else to do, and just coast it home now. Of course, Rafael Dorado already the champion, won the championship a couple of rounds ago, so he can very much just enjoy his day here at Bathurst. And well, what better way than to lead the regular championship contenders by quite some margin as well, 12 seconds ahead of Ove Trengeres. You've got to think that Rafael Dorado, all told, he's got to be happy with his
go out there and have fun. And again, I've said it before, Jamie Fluke again with another fastest lap of 59.7.
It's absolutely exceptional pace there as well. Now, of course, the Lotus 49, which we have in this series, one of the great British racing factories of the time. Sadly, not really involved in motorsport anymore. Still make fantastic road cars, I can report, but at the time they were really special. They were a very, very formidable force in Grand Prix racing. But big air there from Ove Trengered. It's like he's on Rally Finland. Wow, that was amazing. Going up, who would have thought there was a jump on the mountain straight? That only in a Lotus 49 will you get that experience. But another bit of trivia for you, Ryan. Do you know a classic British brand that won the Bathurst 1000 in its very early days?
A classic British brand. I'm guessing probably Lotus.
No. Would you believe that a Maurice Mini won the Bathurst 1000? I know, isn't that amazing? In one of the very early days, Maurice Mini. I suppose it was a Cooper. It must have been a Maurice Mini Cooper. But yes. Who would have thought? The same race won by 700 horsepower V8 supercars also been won by a Maurice Mini. There you go. So brilliant battle going on here between the number 17 car of now that one is John Olsen, Dave Cohen right behind, right on his case. Look at this, and Colin Bentley not too far behind either. You can just see him at the back of the shot there as well with the blue helmet. So round they go then in towards the cutting, a very, very tricky corner where you're kind of, you see there the braking there from Colin Bentley, just locking up there because you're having to kind of turn and brake at the same time, which it's never easy.
Absolutely not, and I think that's the thing with this car as well. Some of these drivers are maybe used to doing something like jailbreaking, and you can do it with this car, but you've got to be you can't just hammer the brake. You've got to be so precise and so smooth. And so also don't forget as well, if these guys are struggling with locking brakes, they can adjust the brake bias, I believe, for the front anti-roll bar.
Absolutely, yeah. You can get the crew chief on the radio telling you what to do. So, 4 laps to go here at Mount Panorama, and brilliant battle here. This is now, remember, this is for the last spot on the podium, last race of the season. Kind of that last day of school syndrome here, Ryan. You know, when you could kind of get away with more stuff on the last day because you got the whole holidays for the teachers to forget about it. So if someone you didn't like, you could walk up and biff them in the nose and you would probably get away with it. So I wonder if the same thing's going to happen here with Olenek and Trengarade. You know, these guys battle all season long. I presume they will be back for next season in a couple of weeks' time. But you got to think that the gloves will be getting taken off here now for the last 4 laps.
I like that analogy you used. That was very good. Yeah, yeah. Olenek, you know, Trengarade still close together, and I think it's pretty much, like you say, it's pretty much the last round, the last day at school, if you like, and pretty much just get the elbows out and they take no prisoners.
Indeed, yeah. So what can Ovi Trengarade do? We've seen him have a couple of enormous moments in this car. I mean, you can't go through a race without having a massive moment in this car. It's just so alive. You watch the car, how it bounces along the straight here over the bumps, and I have to say, I did not realise up to now that they're, oh my word, goodness me, Olenek going onto the grass there, trying to get the most possible room on the entry, and oh, that's risky. Oh my word. Rob Olenek using all the road and more in an effort to defend from Ovi Trengarade, and Trengarade would have seen that. He would have thinking, right, I've got you rattled. I can get on your case now. 3 laps to go here at Bathurst, and we're about to go over something I never even realised existed until I saw Lotus 49s going around here, is a jump on the mountain straight. Wait for this.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's a jump at the end of Conrod Straight that these drivers or drivers in the past have done. Went up, tried to jump it at the end of a race, and yeah, don't be surprised if you see any of these drivers try and take the jump. But yeah, that was a bit, that was too close for comfort on the grass by Olenek, and I had to hold my breath just watching that.
Yeah, as you can see there, as they came over the mountain straight there, the cars, the suspension working really, really hard. These cars are so expressive in the way that their body language works, but I tell you what, Rob Olenek is driving the wheels off it here, really starting to stretch an advantage from Ovi Trengarade. But back we go then to Olsen and Cohen. You know, solicitors, phone them if you've been in an accident kind of stuff. Olsen and Cohen. So let's hope they don't end up in an accident here. Cohen all over the case, and he's really putting pressure on Olsen now in the 17 machine. As they come on over the line, they've got 3 laps to go, and not too far ahead there at the front of the shot, you can see the 21, the flying popsicle of Pereira.
Indeed, also behind Olsen and Colin, you've got Colin Bentley decides to join the party, and he's been thinking, hey, wait for me guys, I've got some popcorn. Indeed.
Now, sweet, look at this charge from Emmanuel Pereira, 7 spots he's gained. Now, if you're in the popcorn seat, Ryan, do you go for sweet or salty?
I like a bit of both, but my preferred choice is salty.
You wouldn't have the two mixed together, would you? You're not one of those.
No.
Oh, thank God. All right, we couldn't have commentated together anymore if that were the case. Another fastest lap from Jamie Fluke, 159.6, now with a 5-second advantage. But back a little bit further down the field, this is a battle for 6th spot. And Togo Hisada right behind Gary Teal now. Fantastic battle here. Now, can Hisada make the move before the end? Of course, Hisada trying to get this F2 championship sealed up, so he's probably, he'll be in a more than good enough position where he is right now. He probably, I would imagine, will just want to coast it home from now.
Yeah, I think if I was Hisada and you're in the lead of the championship with a 40 point gap, which is more than enough, but you can't afford to take any or back off too much. You've basically just got to finish the race and just pick up the points.
Indeed, absolutely. So, let's go back to Rob Olenek and tell you what, Ovi Trengrade has not given up. They're onto the penultimate lap now. Oh, this is getting really spicy now. Over they go through Solomon Park, McPhillamy Park. Oh, gee whiz, Rob Olenek using all the room. There must have been millimeters between his Firestone tyre and the wall there, but using every last bit of the room and therefore maximising the speed. Down towards the dipper they go, and Trengrade is right on the case. Now this is all going to come down to Forest Elbow. This corner just coming up with the Falcon tyre sponsorship. There it is. Down towards we go. Tuck the car in and get on the power as early as you possibly can. Minimise the wheel spin. And whoop, speaking of, there's some wheel spin for Trengrade.
He's still got the slipstream. He's still got the run and all on it. No, as they come up over this little crest again, and just watching on it. Is he going to? Yeah, it looks like Trengrade's pulling out from the slipstream. He's going for the move, or he tries to go for the move through the chase, and oh, this is so close.
Brilliant stuff from both guys there. That is threading the eye of the needle. It's such high pace, and Trengrade doing a bit of a rally driver cut over the curb there. And down towards Murray's they go for the penultimate time. They'll take the white flag, signalling the last lap. We're on to the last lap of the season here in the Grand Prix Legends Series, here on iRacing.com, live on the Global Sim Racing channel. What are we going to have here? Who's going to get the last spot on the podium? Who's going to get the last ticket to the ball? Rob Olenek or Ovi Trengrade? I tell you what, Trengrade is all over his case, Ryan.
He is. I think Olenek, he's feeling that pressure, and I think he's just got to try and do everything possible to keep Trengrade behind. But I think at this moment in time, Trengrade is a quicker driver, and he seems to be the quicker driver in that last sector heading on to Conrad Straight.
Indeed, yep, he appears to have the edge there, but Olenek playing this very, very clever. He doesn't actually necessarily need to push that hard over the mountain. He's just got to try and keep safe here, park the car on the apex, and just make sure that he's ready to get that real slingshot exit out of Forest Elbow to give him the best chance to defend out the chase. So you just see Olenek there just giving a little bit more respect and room to the wall there. Just a couple of extra centimetres makes all the difference, but the trade-off is that Trengrade is right on his gearbox now. Through the dipper for the final time then. Down they go towards Forest Elbow, and Trengrade is right on the gearbox. Is he going to do the Matt Campbell? No, of course he's not. Nobody's going to try that as well. So let's go to the front. Jamie Fluke then comes around the chase for the final time. Got quite a lot of traffic to contend with, and looks like he is going to be the winner here in the Grand Prix Legends Series. He dispatches with that last piece of lap traffic. Jamie Fluke, running the number one, wins here at Mount Panorama. He is the king of the mountain in the Grand Prix Legends Series. Rafael Dorado through in second. A brilliant drive from him, and Trengrade's got past. Trengrade has got past, but it's not done yet. Olenek is up the inside. Oh, look at that. Trengrade very, very late on the brakes. They go side by side. Trengrade late. Oh, who's going to make it to the line first? Who takes it? It is Olenek. Just about hangs on. Wow, Rob Olenek gets the last spot on the podium. What an exceptional battle as we look back to Togo Husada, who is going to be your F2 Championship Series winner. And whoa, big, was that on purpose? My word, I hope not. Oh, big slide there from Togo Husada. Goodness. So another battle going on here. Olsen versus Bentley. Who is going to come off best here? John Olsen in front, Colin Bentley right behind in the dark blue cap. John Olsen in the light blue cap in the number 17 car. Down towards the chase they go. Who is going to take this one? Can Colin Bentley make that last ditch move for 12th position? No, looks just like Olsen's going to have enough. Coming through the chase, looks like he's got this one sealed up. Down towards Murray's, would take a very big lunge from Bentley here. Now, I tell you what, I thought that Bentley was maybe going to try it there. Thinks better of it, and over the line they go. But tell you what, if we can, it'd be great to see a replay of Trengrade and Olenek. So here we go then. Ryan, how do you call this one?
Yeah, so we're just about to look at the replay now coming up, and that was a close finish between both of them. But as they head down Conrad Straight now, it looks like Trengrade's got the better run. He's got the slipstream, so he pulls out from the slipstream, goes to the move. And I think both of these guys are going to go side by side through the chase. And as I've got a back marker on the grass, just keeping out the way. Oh, that was so close to be contact, but thankfully, both of them managed to just avoid each other, and they're still side by side. And it looks like at this point, Trenbury's got the move done, but actually, Olenek has still got the run. He's still holding it on the outside just, and he doesn't lunge up the inside, but he just shows that he's there. And it seems to be Olenek gets a better run in the final corner and takes the final podium position.
Brilliant stuff there from both drivers, but Rob Olenek winning, an absolute thriller to get that last spot on the podium. So here we go, the famous Bathurst Jump. You're thinking, we're not still we've had the checkered flag, the race is over, but watch for this. A little bit of an Easter egg we have here on iRacing. They're going for the Bathurst Jump. This is a different jump that I was referring to earlier. Can Jamie Fluke do it? Whoa! Oh, wow! Oh, end over end. Oh, my word. Wowee. Oh. Can he stick the landing? Come on the wheels. Yay! It's good. Here we go. There's more drivers going to do this. Great fun. This is some last day of school stuff here, Ryan.
As it's basically like, the season's over, let's just say screw it and just have a bit of fun.
Oh, wonderful. Sticks the landing. That's the neatest one, that's for sure. But goodness me, Jamie Fluke ends up at Murray's corner. We've got another one here. Oh, nearly sticks to the landing. Oh, here comes Colin Bentley. Over we go. Here we go. Whee! Oh, he gets the one. Oh my. Oh, he's on his lids. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh my. Oh, he's still going to stick the landing. One last one. Here we go. What, the last jump of the season. Oh, you got a big crowd to watch for this one. Whee! And then as soon as the air gets it, oh, goodness me, on his lid. There he goes. Well, we're going to take a very short break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll be right back with post-race interviews and the official results. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Mount Panorama, where we have just been treated to, well, not only a fantastic motor race, but a brilliant stunt show as well, Ryan Walker. That was a real treat for the last day of the season. But let's confirm the results then. Jamie Fluke is the winner by 6.5 seconds from the ever-impressive Rafael Dorado, our series champion here in the Grand Prix Legends series. Rob Olenek got that final spot in the podium after that brilliant performance to just edge out Ovi Trengarade. Alessandro Parigi finished in 5th with Gary Teal 6th. Togo Hisada sealed up the F2 championship with 7th overall, a brilliant drive from the Japanese. Andrew Schumacher was 8th with Will McDonald 9th, and Emmanuel Pereira finished 10th.
Finishing in 11th was Dave Cohen, with 12 going to John Olsen after that terrific battle with Colin Bentley, who finishes in 13th. Chris Hendler finishes 14th, with 15th going to Peter Pajowski. Michael Gringeziger in 16th, 17th Douglas Nelson, 18th is Jan Lehman, Nico Lino in 19th, and Donald Peake finishes in 20th.
So let's have a look then how the rest of them finish. Eugenie Massive finished 22nd, followed by Robert Reynolds, John Van Dorn, Chris Murakami, Laust Olsen, Yuri Geisen, Andrew Eng, Terry Worth, Seth King, and Robert Plumley. And the final 7 runners, who were a number of laps down, Motoroni Shinoda, Bill Tyler, Sebastian Tizzi, Hideki Kavisto, Angelika Pawlowski, Andres Bruno, and Timo Karolainen. So it looks like we have our race winner joining us here in the commentary box, Jamie Fluke. Jamie, that was a thrilling race for us in the commentary box. How was it from your seat?
Yeah, it was an interesting race. Even though I won from start to finish, the lap traffic sort of kept me on my toes a little bit as well. So I was just happy to survive and get through unscathed. Well, up until the jump at the end, of course. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with that. It's such a tricky combo. So whilst it probably looked like a fairly straightforward win, it was anything but.
I can assure you, you'll almost be relieved to know it did not look straightforward. There's nothing straightforward about.
Good.
No, it looked absolutely, and that coming on to that point, Rafael Dorado, of course, is the series champion here. He's a real kind of expert in this particular car. He was matching the pace all the way through. It was only really in the last portion of the race where he started to drop back slightly, but he was playing on the pressure.
Yeah, so I think off the start in the first few laps, I was able to gap him a little bit. Then we came up lap traffic, he closed in, and then he stayed there. And I'm like, oh, well, this isn't exactly going to plan. So I put in a few risky laps just to try and break things a little bit so I could have a bit of a buffer if I needed to again. But trying to push super hard around here is not a good idea. So I kept laps like that to a minimum where I could.
Absolutely. Now we must talk about the jump, the end of season jump as well. I mean, that was a cracker. I don't think I've ever seen anyone finish their jump at Maurice and then stick the landing as well. That was pretty cool.
That's kind of what I was going for. Once I got up over the jump, so I'd only done one of these like once before, and it went actually surprisingly well. But I thought, I landed too much in the back wheel, so a little bit of brake just to settle the nose, and hopefully it would land flush. And overdid it, landed square on the nose, and end over end we went. But to stick the landing was good. I hope the judges give me a fair score on that one.
Yeah, we got the American football. It's good. So I hope you enjoy watching it back later on in the broadcast. Now, Jamie, before we let you go to go and enjoy your win, who would you like to shout out to here on the Global Sim Racing channel?
I'd love to thank all the guys on Apex Racing Team for all the support that they give me and keeping sim racing fun for me and allowing me to do what I do best, which is lob a car around a track in a moderately good manner. Also, I thank our sponsor, SK Gaming and Computers as well. I'd like to thank you guys as well for putting on the broadcast and giving us an opportunity to showcase what fantastic cars these are. And I'd also like to thank everyone over my Twitch chat, twitch.tv/JimmyFlick, for all the banter and shenanigans over there. They keep me honest and keep me on my toes. So yeah, all good there.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Jamie, thanks so much for coming to join us, and hopefully we'll see you again next season.
Perfect. Thanks very much.
So that was our race winner, Jamie Fluke, and our second place man, Rafael Dorado, is with Ryan Walker.
Rafael Dorado finishing in second place after starting second on the grid, and the new Lotus 49 champion as well. And Rafael, it looked like you were trying everything to keep up with Jamie, but in the end, Jamie just seemed to have the upper hand when it came to pace, and unfortunately, you had to settle for second. But overall, you must be happy with that, and it must be a good way to round out your championship winning season.
Yeah, I am happy. Jamie Fluke is obviously one of the best drivers, virtual drivers in the world. And just to be able to finish the race still looking at him, it's positive for me. I was able to keep up in the first part of the race. And at some points, I got a little bit closer and I was pushing a lot to stay on the gap. Maybe some opportunities could arise in the end of the race. But I made while I was pushing, I overdrive a little bit and I made a mistake. Then I lost about half a second, lost the draft. And after that, I decided that I was going to think about the championship because I needed to finish ahead of Rob O to win the official iRacing championship today. So after I lost the drafts, I just took a little bit easier because I just wanted to finish in front of Rob O to make sure I nail also the iRacing official championship.
Yeah, what with regards to the season, do you think, even though you won the championship, do you think there was anything you could have improved on, or do you think this season's pretty much met your expectations?
No, I think Jamie Fluke driving with us today, a pro driver, one of the best, uh, is proof that there is still a lot of room to improvement. I wish someday, I mean, my goal is to get to his level at some point, of course. Not sure if I will be able to, but that's the goal, and I will try to keep improving.
And yeah, talking about next season as well, are you planning to come back and defend your title?
I was up until yesterday, but yesterday iRacing announced a car that has naturally aspirated V10 engine, and that is quite enticing. So I will drive that car a little bit, see how it feels, and maybe I don't know. So I don't know yet what I'm gonna do next season.
Good stuff. And before we let you go, Raphael, is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to or any thank yous to?
Yeah. First of all, thanks to the Lotus 49 community. I think it's one of the best communities in iRacing. Everybody's really friendly. Everybody knows each other, and it's a real wholesome community. Also, thanks to Jamie Fluke for streaming our series and promoting it in his Twitch. Thanks to my family and friends who have been watching the races this season. And of course, thanks to Mick Larridge for being such a great rival. Unfortunately, he couldn't drive all the races this season. But we had a lot of fun and a lot of battles. Also, thanks to Rob Owen with Trangrade, who also we also had great battles on track. I mean, I never had as much fun in iRacing as I did this season.
Great to hear. Well, Raphael, thanks for joining us in the booth, and again, congratulations on second place, and also on winning the championship this season. And yeah, hopefully we see you on track next season to defend your championship.
Thank you very much, Raya, and thank you guys for the broadcast.
As that was Rafael Dorado joining us, finished second today and won the championship this season, like I mentioned. And I have to say, Peter, that was an absolutely fantastic way to round out the season. And I, for one, have enjoyed it. And it's been a pleasure commentating alongside a fellow member of Double Scott.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been great. Although I joined halfway through the season, I've done a bit of a George Russell coming into this top team. So thank you very much indeed for welcoming with open arms. And that is all we have time for on the Grand Prix Legends series here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But we will be back in just a couple of weeks' time, the 19th of December, a brand new season live here. You can catch it all here on the Global Sim Racing channel. A huge thank you goes to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts, and you can see them here listed on your screen. An additional thank you goes to the wonderful June Lalonde, who provides all of our great music, and you can see on screen how to get hold of her great work. A big thank you to the other half of Double Scots, Ryan Walker, our producer Sean Ambrose, and the ever-talented Dougie Beard for their help in producing today's broadcast. If you'd like to find out more about us here at the Global Sim Racing channel, including upcoming races, you can find information at globalsimracingchannel.com. We also have social media channels, Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram as well at GSRC_Gram. You can even represent us at the track with some GSRC merchandise, and you can visit gsrc.storeenvy.com to get hold of some of that. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page and hit the big red subscribe button as well, so you never miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing channel. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.